Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another session of the 18th annual Transforming the Teaching and Learning Environment virtual conference. I'm Bob Hales. I'm your moderator. This year we're sponsored by the Journal of Educators Online, JEO. They have a slew of refereed articles in the journal dating back to 2004. Have a chance, take a look at it. You should find something of interest. Just go to thejeo.com and you can spend hours going through it. We have with us today Adam Davy, Kathy Russell, and Stephanie Tamman. Adam is an instructional design manager at the University of Arizona, where he also teaches and designs courses across online and in-person modalities. Kathy Russell is also an instructional design manager, also at University of Arizona, and an adjunct instructor at Lone Star College. And Stephanie Tamman is also an instructional design manager. How many are there of those? Like they're all
There's one more.
managers.
There's one more. Yeah.
She came to the world of instructional design after getting a PhD in biochemical and molecular nutrition. Wow, that's a big stage change there. Wow. Uh, she does scholarship, uh, research in the scholarship of teaching and learning, and specializes in building hybrid workspaces with a sense of belonging. Right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to them as they talk about the magic of instructional design, Imagineering principles for engaging experiences. So, poof to the three of them.
Thank you, Bob. All right. So welcome everybody. This is uh yeah, our presentation on Disneying your design, applying Imagineering principles to transform your learning experience design. And the three of us are big Disney fans, and so we wanted to inject a little bit of Disney magic into what we do as instructional designers. So as you know, Bob has already kind of introduced us. Once again, I'm Adam Davey, instructional design manager and master of pin trading, which actually that little title works well because I have all my pins behind me.
Oh
When we
yeah.
did this in person, he didn't have this cool background to support that title there. But and then I'm here with my two colleagues. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Stephanie Tamman. Yeah, also an instructional design manager, and I was at Disneyland yesterday. So like really coming in with the Disney magic today.
And I'm Kathy Russell, as we said, also an instructional design manager. And I am a planner, so I get the Disney Park planner title.
Okay.
Okay, so what we did is we looked at how do Imagineers approach their roles in creating experiences for the Disney parks. And they have six principles of great experiences that help guide them along their process of creating new attractions, whether that be rides or shows or experiences, whatever that looks like. And so the first one is emotional connection. So how do you create that emotional connection within this attraction? And so we, thought about that in terms of instructional design. Like, how do we create an emotional connection? How do we build something that students are then going to bond with and relate to in some way, shape, or form. So looking at that and thinking about how we can create that relevance within the our design, so that students can create an emotional connection. So that's the first step. And then second one is innovation and curiosity driven design. And so this is one of my favorite things as well too, is like how do we use our own curiosity to build something that's innovative and interesting to students. And so from an Imagineer perspective, obviously they're very curious and innovative and think about, how do we do this? How do we, make an elevator feel like it's falling faster than an elevator can actually fall? And in our case, we're not making elevators fall, literally, but we can still drive that curiosity, and how can we build something that is not only going to drive our curiosity, but going to drive the students' curiosity as well. How can we get them hooked and get them engaged in something where they want to participate in?
Okay, so I'm going to take it from here. The next principle of great experience is relatability. And I have the Monsters Inc. picture up here because I think it's a great example of how Disney took a story about monsters, which maybe isn't the most relatable thing to most of us, but made it super relatable by setting monsters in this workplace where they're working a 9 to 5, dealing with HR and bureaucracy and doing their punch cards to get in and out. And so all of a sudden, like us as humans can relate to these monsters and it makes it a much more interesting story. So likewise, we think about this a lot when we're working with our instructors to create courses. How can we make this content that might be esoteric, like out there content, but then make students, like Adam said, curious about it? And one good way to do that is by making it relatable, make the students feel like they have something invested in what they're learning. And then the next one is sweat the details. And if anybody has been to a Disney park or even Universal and then compare that to like a local fair, there's a huge difference there. And a lot of that is in those details that the Imagineers really focus on when they're building the parks. So this picture here is a picture of the ground in the Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land at the Disney parks. And they don't just make it like a concrete ground. They make this looks like, dirt on a foreign planet with droid tracks going through it. And you could see the purposeful cracks in the dirt to make it look like it's been there forever. And so every little detail when you look around the parks, it's planned for and it has been designed. So likewise, when we're in an online course, what can we do to make that course feel really well thought out? And what are those little details that might be overlooked that can make students get a sense of place so they know where they might be in the course? Maybe it's a change in color scheme when you're changing topics so they know like, oh, this is something new. I need to think different. What are those little details that you can do to really bring their course to the next level? And I'm going to toss it to Kathy.
Yeah, the next Imagineering principle is courage. And that's really talking about the courage that it takes to push the limit to that next thing and do things that haven't been done before. And so it takes a lot of courage to create a new ride or a new experience that has the potential to fail because they start out with an idea and this idea gets pitched and they have no idea how they're going to pull it off, but they decide to go ahead and move forward with it. And then you have to figure out all of these things to make it safe to put humans in. And it takes a lot of courage to do that along the way. And I feel like that also relates to instructional design. And whenever we're pushing the envelope with like course design, it takes courage to pitch those new ideas to faculty, and it takes courage to try something new that could absolutely fail. One of an example of something that I've done in the past is there was a course that was talking about ethics in online. And so I pitched the idea to the instructor of putting Napster on trial. And so for this, the students would really have no idea what Napster was. So they'd have to do some research into what Napster was and like what if they feel like it was ethical, what happened, what Napster was doing, what happened to Napster, all of these different aspects. And so that ended up being the entire discussion is there was a judge, there were lawyers, there was a jury, and these people just had to take turns going through in their roles and defending their side of the Napster case. And it turned out to be a really great success for students, but it had a lot of moving parts that could have easily also been a failure that we would have had to have revamped and worked again for the next course. And then the last principle is boundless thinking, right? Which goes along a bit with courage, but also the main point of boundless thinking is that you can't rest on your past successes. Right? Like you're always looking for a new way to improve things, taking a new angle from it. I feel like instructional designers do this a lot in their day-to-day jobs because we're always thinking and trying to come up with new ideas and new concepts for each course and what aspects we could help the faculty think about to make it more exciting for the students and to make it more engaging, but also make sure that we're relating it back to the content and that we're not just suggesting technology for the sake of technology.
And one of the other things we looked at too when we were designing this presentation was the Imagineering pyramid. These are 15 other kind of things that Imagineers look at when they design. We're not going to go through all 15, but just one that I find really fun is the it's a small world effect, which is really that repetition, right? Everybody knows it's a small world, or I'm assuming everybody knows it's a small world. That's a big assumption, but at least you probably know the song and that repetition of that song, it gets in your head, and it's in every room that you go to on the ride, and it gets stuck in there, and you end up repeating it all day. And so that same type of repetition as you put in your course design is hopefully going to get that same effect with students where they are repeating things and are picking things up along the way.
And we're going to share this slide deck out in just a minute. And if you want to read more about the Imagineering pyramid, there is a link to a resource in the description area or the notes section of this slide. Okay. Oh, you all want to talk about
Oh.
these? These
I
are just
can,
some
yeah, these
examples.
are just some examples. Kathy mentioned some examples that she did. One of the examples I did to kind of go through my own, Imagineering was the escape room. How I got curious about how I can make an activity a little bit more exciting and how I can get it to be a little bit more relatable to students and relevant. So I played with the idea of a virtual escape room and um, tested that out this past semester with students, and went really well. It was pretty well received by students, which was nice.
Right, and the hero's journey example is just another example of a way to kind of think outside of the box. There is the hero's journey framework that has been used a lot over the course of literature, and it's just a framework of how the hero experiences the story and the journey that they go on. As I was in a webinar 11 years ago, they were talking about the hero's journey, and as they were explaining it, I was thinking, wow, this is actually pretty similar to the journey that our student takes over the course of the semester. And so, what if we just capitalized on that and told that narrative, and truly made the student the hero as they were going through the course? And some of the examples of things that happen to the hero is they go on a journey and they have a wise advisor, which is built into a course. That's the instructor. The instructor is the wise advisor. And they go through trials and tribulations, which students do as they learn material, right? Like they have to struggle to comprehend that material. And they also may struggle to not make a great grade on an assignment or a test. So then they have to learn from those moments and they have to keep going on their journey, hopefully ending the journey as someone new and better than whenever they started their journey, which in a small way, not like Hercules, but in a small way, we hope that all of our students end our classes better than they started them.
All your students don't become demigods, Kathy.
Unfortunately, no. I know. And they don't have magical flying Pegasus horses. It's unfortunate.
That is
It's
unfortunate.
unfortunate. If
I'll try
only.
harder.
And this is just an example of a graphic syllabus. So again, a way to like get that curiosity going with your students and make them seem a little bit more make something that might be a little mundane, like a syllabus, which is really just a lot of text, make that more interesting and make them, catch their attention. So we just took a syllabus and found fun ways using, we used Adobe Express for this, to, yeah, take that content and make it like, what could we do to make it a little more visually appealing? Okay, so now we're gonna play a game. And to do this, I think, Bob, are we able to do breakout rooms? Oh, I don't know if he's on. If not, we'll do it all together as one.
Yeah,
Um, okay. I think if we could do two, then we have enough folks for two. And this should be fun. This should be very low stakes. So don't get afraid of the word breakout rooms. I know some people tend to duck out if there's it's that the word breakout room is mentioned. But the idea here is to take those principles of Imagineering we've been talking about and use it to come up with something fun together. But we're not going to just do this any old way. We're going to do this the Disney way. So we'll get into groups. Before we break you all out, we're going to spin some fun wheels and come up with what Disney character are you going to be designing this activity for? And then what is the activity? So we're going to give you those assignments. Or
And
somebody will,
if you haven't yet, you can use the QR code or the bit.ly link
yes.
that's on the slide to open the Google
Oops.
folder that that has information for you all.
I can also drop this folder into the
Oh,
chat here.
perfect.
And this will have, in that folder, you'll have the slide deck. I can even screen share this right now. You'll have this slide deck. You're going to have these character cards, which when we assign you your character and your scenario, that's going to give you information on that. And then we have a reflection sheet if you want to use that to structure your conversation, to structure your design. You can use that. You don't have to. That's just if you are someone that likes to have kind of a worksheet style to work through. But let me go through and I'm going to have to. Here we go. Okay, so I think we only need two, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to spin the wheel twice, and if one of you wants to write it in the chat,
Okay.
the what we got. Okay. Oops. Sorry. I always do this the first time. I forget to hit spin all. Okay, ignore the spin. Ignore the spin. All right, here we go. Let's try again. Okay, so breakout room number one is going to be working on designing a course structure for the evil queen, and that is the evil queen from Snow White. Okay, and then we will do breakout room number two. Oh, thank you. Breakout room number two is going to be designing something for student to instructor engagement for Elsa. Okay. Oops. All right. So if are there any questions before we send you into these rooms? And we'll give you about, is this a 45-minute presentation or an hour?
Um,
50 minutes.
15.
50 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So how about we give you 20 minutes?
Yeah.
We'll check in at 15 minutes and see if people need more time or not. Um, okay. Any
That
questions?
works.
You feel free to pop it in the chat or come on mic.
Are we letting people choose their rooms or are we
Good question.
randomly assigning?
I'm fine with either.
Yeah.
We can let people
Okay.
choose.
Okay. See what happens.
Okay. I'm going to stop
Okay.
sharing since I can't really see anything I
Okay.
share.
All right. Okay.
Okay. If we want to open those breakout rooms, if that's possible.
Bob, are we able to open breakout rooms?
Yeah,
Is that I think you might have to do it as the host.
Oh, I thought co-hosts could do that as well.
Are we listed as
I,
co-hosts?
I don't see it as an option.
Oh, I'm not
Oh,
listed as a co-host.
okay.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. I got it now.
Okay.
Two. Okay. Let participants choose. Oh,
Oh, there I see it.
okay. They
I
opened.
think I beat you.
Okay. I was like, ah. All right, there you go. Sorry, everybody. If you want to join, it should pop up now. Room one will be that evil queen, and room two will be for Elsa. Go ahead, hop on in there where you want to work. There's more intrigue with the evil queen, it seems. Kimberly, then they're all alone.
One of us might have to go join.
There we go.
There it goes. Okay.
Oh, all right, so we'll give them a couple minutes to introduce each other, and then we can maybe hop in and see how it's going.
Yeah, that works. We'll pop into these groups.
Adam, do you need me to put you in there?
No, I
Oh
can
no,
join.
you can. Okay.
Yeah, I can join.
Okay.
Hi, do you know how much more time is for the you have for the breakout room?
Yeah, we're gonna bring them back in like 3 minutes, so you're almost there.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Thank
Do
you.
you want us to pop you into one just so you can be a fly on the wall?
No, because my lunch is actually warming up and I'm coming back.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Enjoy.
I don't
Go enjoy your lunch.
I'm like I'm dying. It's 1:30.
Yes.
Okay, all
Yes,
right,
take
thanks.
care of yourself.
Right, thanks. Bye.
Okay, do we have everyone back? Or not quite. Good outcome.
Okay. So I think everybody's back. So now we would like to hear from the groups about what they came up with. We will we'll take volunteers first. Is there a group that wants to share first about their scenario and how they applied the Imagineering principles for their character? If not, we'll just, flip a coin and pick randomly. I don't have a coin though. I don't have flip. We'll just go with group one first then.
Our group had the Evil Queen
Hmm.
and force structure and navigation.
Okay.
And so we talked about, the strengths are planning, precision, critical thinking, and traits prefers goal-oriented tasks, analyzing situations before acting, and valuing control. So we talked about, the importance of like, um, in the design of the course, um, I would structure it where there was like really clear calendar, due dates, and then for the planning, and then also we talked about like with valuing control, like offering options for how to complete assignments. I don't know if anybody else in the group. There were a lot of ideas coming around.
Yeah, I'll add to that. We also talked about scaffolding assignments, so kind of breaking it down for the longer term assignments. Um, this the Evil Queen's a more like analytical at thinking, so she'd be the type of student that would weigh her options. So when you have that option of like this is scaffolded, then that kind of works with that.
I love thinking of like the evil queen just on a computer logging into her online courses. Like lots of options like, do I do use a poison apple or a
Uh,
poison orange? Like what should I do here?
I'm
It's a fun
curious if you
visual.
talked about how to like incorporate a magic mirror into the course structure in some way, where she could
No,
ask it
but that's
questions.
exactly what we needed for the engagement, for the emotional
Oh,
connection.
There
That's a
you go.
great
mhm.
idea,
Yeah,
actually.
you know,
An
like an
AI bot
AI
that
bot.
looks
Yeah.
like a magic mirror.
Yeah.
We were joking at the end about no group projects because she wants
Oh, yeah.
control. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, but maybe she could just be in charge of the group project and then she'd be
Hmm.
okay.
Natural born leader right
Yeah.
there.
So she might lead you into your poisonous apples, but she will
But
lead.
she'll lead. I like
Okay,
it.
well, from one queen to the next, does
Yeah.
anybody want to talk about the Snow Queen, Elsa?
So I will, and so we had Elsa, and Elsa is she's very reflective, she's very independent, she has like the ability to focus, like do deep dives on stuff, so she's super cool like that. But she doesn't like anything too flashy or too much color or anything like that. She likes things straightforward. And so what we designed was we designed two parallel assignments to go to that will go together. And I looked down just a minute ago and went, oh, well, we were supposed to be working on student to instructor engagement, but this works. Just we didn't talk about that part, but it works. So we're gonna have her, she's gonna write a research paper and she's gonna pick her own topic and she's gonna go to the library and she's gonna schedule a one-on-one meeting and she's gonna like those things because she's pretty much on her own and she gets to do the independent stuff. And then she's gonna, we'll have the scaffolding of the assignment because they'll be the going to the library and then going to, get the resources and then work on the writing and the draft and all the things. But she's also gonna be doing a reflective journal where she writes
Mm.
about the process of writing the paper, like finding, which websites, which databases had the best access to sources, how did the draft go, what did she wish she had done differently. Like there's all sorts of opportunities for her to reflect on the writing process so that when she's done and she turns in this research paper, she still has like this guide to how to write beautifully in the future. And so that will live on with her even after she's done with the class. And so we thought that was really cool and it kind of met her needs. And as far as student to instructor engagement, there's the steps of the process, the scaffolding. She's going to meet with the librarian and then, she'll turn in the draft and get feedback. And then you can also schedule like check-ins on that reflective journal just to make sure she's, doing what she's doing because she could be out causing trouble. But you could still have those you could schedule in those checklists as you want to. But when we were looking at the principles that we used, sweating the details wasn't one of them, so we didn't schedule that in yet. But but it does hit her. It provides emotional attachment because she gets to pick the topic, curiosity because she gets to pick the topic, and then the other one was relatability, again, because she gets to pick the topic and she gets to bring that with her. She gets to bring that journal and that whole process with her. And lastly, it takes courage because it's hard for students to turn their papers in. It's hard for students to turn it, especially written work. Like they can do other stuff, but written work is really hard for them because they're really worried about what the feedback is going to look like. And so that takes a lot of courage. And so that was good for her. And from the pyramid, we think that we use It's a Small World because she'll go back and forth to it, and readability because she's writing a paper. That's what we
All
did.
right. Nice.
Very cool. Thank you.
Okay.
So
That's
thank
basically
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both groups for sharing. And hopefully this gave you a little bit of a different perspective as far as like how you can design activities within courses as a whole, and just open your eyes to a different perspective to things. To your work as instructional designers. I guess we didn't really ask like how many people in the room here are instructional designers or course designers in some way. If you want to chime in with a hand raise or chat or anything, or how many people are faculty? Okay, we got faculty. Okay, all right, okay. Um, so okay,
Does anybody have any last thoughts
yeah.
or other areas of application you feel like you could use this?
Really
Thank you.
like this. And, it makes me think too of like um professional development workshops with just like this, like with other faculty. I mean, I feel like I would use this like with students, but I'd also use it in like sharing with other, like my colleagues. So I think this is a really cool concept and I appreciate you, taking the time to talk about it today.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
one of the things, whenever I was developing these character cards, I was like, oh, these are like very fictional characters, but these are very real traits of students that we see in different aspects. And especially if we teach fully online, sometimes it's hard to think through all of these traits that our students have. And we probably have a good majority of these traits inside of all of our students if you pulled all of those cards together in one way or another. So I was like, oh, it's kind of feeling more real, even though it was very not real.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. I'm gonna put just I have a slide with our email addresses, but I think I'll just drop them in the chat um, in case you have any follow-up questions. So, and then Bob, I think we'll turn it back over to you.
And Melissa, we are always fine with people sharing and using the things. So you're
Yes.
welcome to take it and adjust it if you want to use it for something else. And that goes for all of you.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for all, joining us on this fun little escapade on a Wednesday afternoon.
Well, we need the afternoon for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no more questions or comments. We'll bring this to a close.